You remember GI Joe, right? The toy line, then a Marvel comic created to sell those toys, then ultimately an episodic 30-minute toy commercial. Then eventually in 2009, director Stephen Sommers turned GI Joe into a live-action movie. It was hit or miss. It was fun at times, but it also made some strange choices, and it seemed more interested in selling toys than telling a compelling story. Jon M took over the director chair for the sequel, fresh off of working on Justin Bieber music videos. Is that right? This is GI Joe Retaliation. Rather than make you sit through the first one again, the filmmakers fill you in. You may remember, Duke's former BFF becomes the Cobra Commander, his girlfriend became the Baroness, and Destro got turned into a terrible special effect. Duke and Ripcord officially joined GI Joe, Cobra Commander and Destro were captured, the Eiffel Tower got fucked, but yay freedom. Now, no sign of Ripcord here, but here's who we do have. Roadblock, played by Dwayne Johnson, Flint, played by DJ Cortrona, Lady J, played by Adrian Palicki, and Snake Eyes, once again played by Ray Park. The rest of the Joe team will be played by Sargent, not appearing in this film. Seriously, if you're not on that first list I just rattled off, you're out of luck. We open with the Joes doing their thing. Here's Duke, once again played by Channing Tatum. Don't get attached, ladies. He's like a falling star, shining bright, and he's about to disappear into better movies. The mission goes off without a hitch, despite Flint's tendency not to follow orders. Oh no, he put the Joe's flag up! What a scamp! This'll both piss him off and tell the enemy exactly who's to blame. Remember, from the last movie, this isn't really the president played by Jonathan Pryce. He was elected by Russia. He colluded. This is Zartan in disguise. Whew, who can tell these days, am I right? Zartan is played once again by Arnold Vosloo, probably the easiest paycheck of his career. I'm serious, this is about half his total screen time in this movie. Where's the real president? Being kept alive in a bunker because apparently he's the only one who knows where the Cobra Commander is being held. Wait a minute. Cobra Commander wasn't even captured yet when Zartan took over. So how would he know where Cobra Commander is? But President Dickhead first has to get rid of the Joes, so he sends them on a top-secret action scene. Job done, they're ambushed, and even Duke is taken out, leaving only a handful of Joes surviving. Take one goddamn guess who.
There's only one man who could authorize a strike like that. And I voted for him.
I'm pretty sure you didn't. But Snake Eyes wasn't there. He was too busy getting accused of killing the president of Pakistan. With the Joes out of the way, the not president installs Cobra in their place as the US Special Forces elite team. Now they can proceed with springing Cobra Commander from his secret prison. Wait a minute. If he's the guy in charge, and he cares so little about what's legal or moral, why doesn't he just spring him himself? Why the dramatics? Too busy playing golf? Sorry, I keep getting those two mixed up. How did they capture Snake Eyes?
Believe you know your new neighbors, Destro, Cobra Commander.
I've always thought about what you might look like.
And I also love how they capture, arrest, prosecute, and imprison him without taking his mask off. Well, may as well get it off now. Hold on, this isn't Snake Eyes. It's Storm Shadow cosplaying as Snake Eyes, played by Byung-hun Lee. Now we find Cobra Commander and Destro at home in their Bacta tubes. Were they attacked by Wampas? They pointlessly placed Storm Shadow in one of these, but I guess they forgot to sedate him like the others because the old ninja stops his heart trick works and he gets out. But I think the whole point of this scene was to get him back into a white outfit. But he's not alone. This is Firefly, played by Ray Stevenson, Cobra demolitions expert and master of mechanical explosive fireflies. You heard me. He rides in on a heavily armed motorcycle that splits into several missiles that take out their target. I think 10-year-old me designed this. Cobra Commander's released. Hey, that's not Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Now for Destro.
You're out of the band.
Alright, what kind of band would Destro be in? Metal! Really, he's not back either?
Firefly.
But I am digging the voice, even though he reminds me a lot of Dr. Claw.
Good to see you, old friend.
As if that wasn't complicated enough, Storm Shadow is roasted slightly and needs to be benched for a while. You ever get the feeling ninjas are watching your every move? Just every day of my life. Now this is the Cobra Commander I can get behind. Slight update on the mask, but I dig it. It looks great. And of course they're building a super weapon to hold the world hostage by Act 3. Meanwhile in Japan, meet Jinx, played by Elodie Yung.
Cousin to Storm Shadow.
Okay, thanks for the exposition. Is that RZA?
We must find Storm Shadow.
Okay, capture Storm Shadow while he's weakened. Got it. Roadblock takes the kids home. The locals seem friendly.
Go ahead, Marvin. Man, don't call me that name.
Haha, macho fake out. Lady J determines the president is being impersonated by analyzing his tiny childlike hands. But they need help and there's one more person to recruit.
Hello?
Looks like that Die Hard experience just keeps on giving. Bruce Willis is General Joe Colton, retired, founding member of GI Joe. Meanwhile, in Cliffhanger 2, Snake Eyes and Jinx approach Storm Shadow's day spa. Ninja fight! Oh my god, that was amazing! You really have to admire a straight-up fight between two silent ninjas. No quips, no taunts, just the sound of combat. In fact, this entire sequence is mostly dialogue-free. That might be why it's one of the better parts of the movie. He's just gonna strangle him? That's so not ninja. That's nanja. Ah, diversion. Bag him and tag him. But the lower level NPCs respawn and they have to fight their way out. I learned this trick playing Bioshock Infinite. That was pretty cool. But try to keep up with your luggage. Gotta be honest, this sequence is one of the most badass things I've ever seen. Despite being mostly digital, the fight choreography, the energy, the visuals are just stunning. Trapped, but nothing a little avalanche can't solve. They make it out, but that village down there is now under 50 feet of snow. Now the Joes sneak into a political event to steal some of the president's DNA. I always heard it was pretty easy to get a president's DNA. And she didn't even have to pee on him.
Zartan.
Now both their covers are blown. Roadblock is ready at the grassy knoll, but he's interrupted by Firefly. Or rather, fireflies. Look, I know they swarm, then explode, but they're not exactly scary or intimidating. They're almost cute. Like Tinkerbell wearing a suicide vest. When Roadblock is down, of course Firefly can't help monologuing when he could just be skull-bashing. This costs him. They really built these action figures to last. Well, except for the thumbs. The whole side plot with Storm Shadow goes way back when he was accused of murdering their teacher. Well, it turns out he was murdered by none other than Zartan. Seriously? Is this world that fucking small? They were kids when this happened, and they just happened to grow up to be Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow?
That's just lazy writing.
Let me guess, Joel Colton was dead the whole time too. Spooky! Well, I guess the enemy of my enemy, yada yada yada. Didn't he kill some Joes in the last movie? Oh, it's cool now? We have some character moments. Lady J is trying to prove herself to her dead father, and Flint is a gentleman. Here's your TNA, perverts!
Damn ninjas. Good to see you, brother.
Doesn't anyone in this movie just walk in and say hi? Hey neighbor, your music's a little loud. Yes, I love the Black Eyed Peas. Please, by all means, turn it up. Together again, we finally get some good intel and now a plan. But first, a little visit to Colton's house for some hardware. This scene is almost funny how over the top it is, but if you think about it too hard, this is a lonely old retired man with guns stashed all over his house. That's a little frightening. The fake president is having a nuclear summit. By the way, the HISS tanks look really cool. A departure from the original design, but a nice badass update. Cobra's plan is simple. Get rid of everyone's nuclear weapons so they can't defend themselves.
Now, I was prepared to cajole to get what I want. I'm now threatened.
Did I tune into CNN by accident?
This country is at war.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool, and fuck you, I'm out.
Well, the US launches, so now everyone else has to shoot back or else they're gonna look like pussies. Aw, everyone has their own suitcase. And I suppose if your friends jumped off a cliff, you'd jump right after them. Meanwhile, the Joes move in on the summit, while Joe and Lady J rescue the president. Shockingly, the president destroys our missiles. And now the others have to as well, so they don't, destroy the world. Welcome to a nuclear-free world. But since you're defenseless, Cobra has a backup weapon and they've been itching to try it out. Look, it even has its own fancier case.
Project Zeus. There are 7 Zeus satellites orbiting Earth.
It's not nuclear, but dropped from orbit, it would hit like a meteor. Don't believe me? Here's a demonstration.
Observe.
Oh, hi, London. Bye, London. Oh, thank God the GI Joe was here to save the day. That's like 1 million people right there.
What is it you want?
I want it all.
Anyone else expecting a song after that? You know when would have been a great time for Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes to attack? Before this. While Roadblock takes out the tanks in one of the coolest vehicles ever. And Zartan is finally taken down by Storm Shadow. That wouldn't have happened under Frank Horrigan's watch.
That's not gonna happen.
And the real president is rescued. Of course, Cobra Commander slips away, and Firefly grabs the case that controls the weapon. Time's running out, they're gonna take out more cities around the world.
No sign of Firefly.
I got him.
Now that's the Roadblock I know. Throwing around a 50 cal like it was a super soaker.
You want that case? You're gonna have to come through me.
Then a one-on-one fight with Firefly. Not a bad fight scene, I'm a little winded just watching this. Of course, Roadblock wins, gets the case, and destroys Cobra's weapon, saving the day and a bunch of allies. Assuming after this we still have any allies.
Threat terminated.
Oh, he's not dead yet. Just blow up already. Good boy. Looks like the good guys won. Kinda. Just gonna gloss over that, aren't you? No. London blew up. You don't get the triumphant Reservoir Dogs walk.
The world knows them as Joes. We know them as heroes.
I'm not letting this go, folks. That was GI Joe Retaliation. Although this is a direct sequel, there is a massive disconnect between the two movies. It also serves as a soft reboot, choosing to focus on new characters at the expense of the original classic characters. It kind of reminds me of the 80s Transformers movie, where they killed off most of the old robots so they could sell more toys of the new robots. Duke is not a character. He's a contract-fulfilling cameo at best. It's a shame there wasn't more of him. He had a really good chemistry with Roadblock. They played off each other really well, established a relationship early on, and really made me care about them. Then the movie often kills off half of this duet, and Roadblock feels like he's missing something after Duke's gone. But The Rock is always welcome, and I did like Roadblock. And he had a lot more character than Flint. Flint left so little an impression. Flint seemed to have this arc building up where he doesn't quite follow orders exactly and had to grow up, but it really doesn't go anywhere. Snake Eyes was one of my favorites growing up. He's a mute and mysterious ninja, a badass and fiercely loyal to his team. In the comics, he had a pretty good origin story. We never really get to know Snake Eyes as a character here. In these movies, he's a bit bland. I won't deny he does some really cool things, but he's mainly reduced to an action figure. Storm Shadow, on the other hand, had a little more character. His shifting loyalties and hidden agendas made him a more interesting antagonist. Alright, you got no Destro, no Baroness. They finally gave us a decent Cobra Commander, though. Firefly was okay as a henchman. Zartan, or rather, Jonathan Pryce, acting like Zartan, is a terrible example of what would happen if the leader of the free world was an amoral lunatic. You could tell tell Price was having a ball with this role. He's a great actor, and I just loved watching him be a first-class asshole. Bruce Willis was a tad distracting. I'm sure he brought star power to the movie where they thought his name would fill more theater seats, but he looked bored. Originally, this role was meant to be Sergeant Slaughter, but that didn't work out. Even though that probably would have been more interesting. The action feels less cartoony, less toy-like than its predecessor, with not too much shaky cam and slow motion is used sparingly. It's got some good action, but I did think the exposition scenes did drag when they were explaining some things. GI Joe Retaliation is a 2.5 out of 5. It's a decent action movie, if a bit generic, and again, the GI Joe theme falls short. It's a decent action movie, if a bit generic. I think if Hasbro really wanted to spice things up, they should throw a few Transformers in there. Just a suggestion. If you like this video, give a thumbs up and subscribe. Or not, no pressure. Thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see The Rock in Skyscraper coming out in a few weeks. This is theNewBee. I'll see you later.